You alluded to this earlier. So obviously, did Planet Labs come via SPAC? I think Rocket Labs did.
Yes,
Okay.
Rocket
So
Lab did and Planet.
yes. So we've now seen multiple, what I would consider best in breed space companies come public via SPACs in 2021. Clearly, one of the things that we're seeing in public markets is, and this has been a dramatic change from 2021 to 2022, is people now taking a much harsher look at businesses where they feel like real revenue or real profitability is a ways out. And one of the questions I've always kind of thought to myself for the space sector is how to think about it, because it just seems fundamentally very different. Number one, it is not capital intensive. It requires massive amounts of capital and massive amounts of investment, especially upfront. And then two, I guess I sometimes struggle to come up with a great answer of how much bigger or how much more money is flowing into the industry, say 5 years from now or 10 years from now than what we see today. So I won't ask you any of those questions. Those are maybe a little too in the weeds. But I guess the question I would ask is, how do you think about a space business? And maybe you can give a specific example like Rocket Labs or Planet Labs. Is it important that they have revenue and profitability today? How, if you were there, how would you think about that? And how do you, maybe in conversations with CEOs, how do CEOs of private businesses that are going to be public think about profitability and revenue? Just seems like an interesting moment in space.
Profitability, the age old question. So I think the lesson learned from the SPAC situation is that there are a number of companies that went public via SPAC that really shouldn't have. And I think that that's really easy to say now, like sitting here and seeing what happened, right? But I think here's sort of the underlying issue, right? The well, there's a lot of underlying issues, right? I think first is when the projections were done for these companies, right? There was really no oversight on the regulatory side. So people could say whatever they wanted about where their revenue was going to be in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, right? The issue is that public markets and it's fairly efficient and it's really the great equalizer, meaning that if you say something is going to happen and that doesn't happen, you're going to get penalized for it, right? You're going to get penalized extremely hard for it. And that is exactly what's happening, right? So generally speaking, the public markets, it's not where you want to be doing R&D. You don't want to be doing R&D in public markets, right? Like that's just not what it's built for. The only industry that I can think of where that's like sort of the norm is like biotech. But then again, like people view biotech sort of as binary options in most cases. Now, so you're an investor, right? And let's take a step back. Like, so what do? I think if you're a public company and if you're looking at investing in a public space company, I think you need to look at two things. One, you need to look at like, what is this company actually projecting in revenue, and is there a reasonable degree of probability that they're actually going to hit that? Like you have to do the market analysis and see like, is that market demand there? Like if you're looking at an Earth observation business and they're saying that, hey, we're going to do 500 million of revenue in next year, but then if you look at market reports and say, okay, well the actual industry, and by the way, these numbers I'm just totally making up. The actual industry is, I don't know, 4 billion. Right. So the question becomes like, okay, can this company be 500 million of the $4 billion? And like, does that make sense? Like, okay, it doesn't. Okay. So they're probably not going to get there. Right. So if they keep missing those numbers, then the stock is going to get hit. Can they go and raise more money? Right. I think that's the other issue, right? If you, in the public markets, in order to raise money, you need to do follow on offerings. And if your stock price plummets, right, that's that's really not a good situation, right? So you also have to look at burn, like how much money is this company burning, and are they going to actually be able to meet their targets, and are they going to have enough cash in a year or two before they need to raise more money? And these are companies that I'm also assuming from day one aren't profitable, right? And in most cases, a lot of the space companies that are public are not profitable. Now, taking aside the public space companies, what I would say if you're looking at the private side, I think the question is a little bit, I mean, you can sort of use the same lens in terms of like, how much money does this company need to actually get to their end product? If they're still in R&D phase, if they're building some type of new launch mechanism, how much money do they need before they can actually send that, start testing and send whatever they want to in space? And are they going to have customers? And do they have a pipeline lined up, right? Those are the questions I think you need to ask. But in general, you're starting to see more and more companies that are like, kind of like what I would call second and third order products of the space economy that are doing, they're building XYZ product or service, but it's dependent upon a first layer of the economy, like, fuel depots in space. Really, really interesting. But in order for, and I know for, I know that that will one day be a product that we need. But the question is, in order for you to actually build that into a thriving like business, there needs to be a lot of things in space that actually need that product and service. So like, how long will it take before there's actually going to be a demand for that product? And if it's going to take 5 years, 6 years, fine. So like, how much money does this company need to raise, or do they have enough money to get them to that point, right? Those are the questions you have to ask, and you can never assume that the market is going to be there, right? Meaning like the capital is going to be there, that they're going to be able to go out and raise money. That's one of the biggest problems that space companies have, is that they run out of money, right? That's not a novel concept, but it's something that I think, especially in this market, I think you just need to be particularly wary of. Any company that has a clear dual use when it comes to like government, military, I think you have a really strong case, because the government is the biggest buyer right now and will be for the foreseeable future. So if you have a way into government dollars, I think I'd feel a lot safer about that than a true commercial use case, which you need like a first layer or the second layer of the economy to actually develop before you actually have a real product that has real demand.